and welcome back for another tutorial. Today we're going to do a deep dive into the world of shirring. Okay, I'm gonna say it. Why did it take me so long to learn how to shirr? And I'm hoping that you won't be one of those people. So, what is shirring? Shirring is a sewing technique that involves gathering fabric to create a textured, stretchy effect. It's achieved by stitching rows of parallel lines with elastic thread, and as the elastic thread is stretched and sewn into the fabric, it gathers or pleats, giving the fabric a gathered, ruched appearance. So before we get into the tutorial, I just want to quickly talk about the different applications we can use with shirring. But if you would like to skip ahead, the timestamp is in the description box below, and you can go straight to the tutorial. And if you find value in this video, please like and comment and share with your sewing besties, and don't forget to subscribe, of course. Okay, let's talk about some of the fun examples of what you can do with shirring once you've mastered this amazing technique. So you can create a basic shirred dress. It's versatile and stylish, and it features shirring along the bodice or bust. Shirring can create a flattering and comfortable silhouette, and the shirring technique gathers the fabric snugly around the body, accentuating your curves while providing a comfortable and flexible fit. Next is children's garments. As children's are often growing at an exponential rate, shirring is an excellent choice for many garments as it can be worn through multiple sizes. It's easy to wear, comfortable, and a great choice for play clothes. Next, shirring can add a delicate touch to an otherwise plain garment. By choosing different spots on the clothing, you can add style and functionality. For example, shirring to your cuff can allow you to pull up your sleeve. Adding shirring to your waist can help to accentuate an hourglass figure, and adding shirring to a short sleeve can help create volume in the sleeve. Now, the great thing about shirring is it can be sewn into just about any garment, whether it's something you are sewing from a pattern, or have a look in your closet and see what pieces of ready-to-wear clothing you could add shirring to. You can take a boxy garment, add some shirring to help accentuate your greatest assets. Now that we've learned some different uses for shirring, I'm hoping you're excited to dive into the world of sewing, and if you do decide to take this plunge, just know that there's no turning back. You will want to shirr everything, and I'm sorry. I, just like so many others, have said those dreaded words. Why did it take me so long to learn shirring? So without further ado, let's just get straight into the tutorial. So we're only going to be making a swatch today, which is a small sample of our shirring project. I want you to practice on scrap fabric before you go diving into your first shirring project. I like to have about 5 or 6 empty bobbins on hand, and then we're going to find some elastic thread. I will have a link down in the description box for this spool off of Amazon, but you're going to need 0.6 millimeter elastic thread. So now I'm going to teach you how to wind your bobbin. You're going to use an empty bobbin, and we are going to stick the end of our elastic through one of the little holes, holding the hole and the bobbin. We're going to slowly wind the bobbin. Now, some people like to use your sewing machine, but I find that it tends to stretch out the elastic, and we don't want our elastic to be stretched when we're winding it onto our bobbin. So take your time. I kind of go back and forth, shifting it from one hand to the other, trying to fit as much elastic onto the bobbin as humanly possible without making it a whole jumbled mess. And then I'm just going to clip off the end of the elastic, leaving a little tail. If you have a little piece sticking out of the hole, you can go ahead and trim that off so it doesn't get in the way when it's inside the sewing machine. Once I've wound all my bobbins, I like to put it into a bobbin holder to make sure that my elastic doesn't unravel itself, because it tends to do that. Again, I'll have a link in the description box. I really like this. It holds the bobbins well, even if I flip it upside down. So now we're going to go back to our fabric and we are going to draw some lines. So I like to use some chalk. So use a disappearing ink pen, friction pen, something that's not going to show up, because we are going to be drawing these lines on the right side of our fabric. You can't tell obviously because I'm just using regular yellow cotton, but if you're using a print or a one-sided fabric, we are doing this on the right side. We will be sewing on the right side. I'm going to space out my parallel lines a 1/2 inch apart, but depending on the project, you can make these rows wider or shorter. And I'm just going to draw rows all the way the full width of my fabric. Now the way I like to sew this is I go back and forth down the rows. This will save the most amount of elastic, and then you don't have to keep cutting your elastic at the ends of the row. Now we're going to set up our sewing machine for shirring. I have the Baby Lock Presto 2. These settings could be different for your machine, so you might want to do a quick Google search to see what you can find. But the basic premise is you need a high stitch length and then a high upper tension. We're also going to just use our regular universal thread on the top, but now we're going to switch out the bobbin for that elastic bobbin. You're going to place that into the machine the same way you would with your regular thread. We're going to kind of put it through the little tension discs, and I'm not going to pull it all the way through and then cut the thread like I normally would. I'm just going to leave it like this. And then I'm going to hand crank my wheel down with my thread and pick up the elastic. We want to make sure that our elastic is going to be getting caught into those tension discs. So if you can see how the elastic is kind of fighting me to come up, that means that it's caught within those tension discs, and that is what we want. If that elastic is coming up too loosely, then it's not caught. If it comes up on the right side of the bobbin, you'll know that's wrong. So I'm just going to give you a closer look of what it should look like. This is kind of a backwards angle, but it should be coming out the left side of the bobbin just like that. And now we're going to take that piece of fabric with the lines on it and we're going to start to shirr. So just start from the very beginning. You can do a back stitch if you like, but we're just going to start sewing in a straight line all the way down. I'm going to give you multiple angles so that you can really see what we're doing when we're shirring. But as you can see, it's going to start to gather right behind. Sometimes that first row isn't super gathered. This fabric is quite thin, so you can really appreciate the shirring has begun. But sometimes, depending on your fabric, it's not going to be too obvious on the first row, so just give it a few more rows and then it'll look a lot better. But we're going to go down. You see that I kind of tugged on it a little bit, and then just to give myself some room, and then we're going to go to that second line and start sewing right down, trying to stay as straight as possible. This is really going to affect the overall look if you're not straight. And also by the time we get down to the bottom of our fabric, then it'll start to look super crooked. So all those practicing straight lines is all going to come into play when you're doing your shirring. So again, going back and forth, try not to end your bobbin off in the middle of your shirring project. Now, if you find that you are low on your bobbin when you get to the end of your row, just cut it off. I know it's wasteful, but just throw it out and then put in a new bobbin and begin again. We want to leave it start and stop at the front or the end and the beginning of our piece of fabric. But as you can see, it is coming along. It looks really good, really tight. Depending on the stitch length and that tension will give you different looks, different amount of gather. If you want it really tight, you keep those numbers high. If you want it a little bit looser, bring those numbers back down. And then we're going to take it over to our ironing board, and we're going to put some water into our iron, put it on high steam, and then give it a good steam. And as you can see, the fabric is kind of scrunching in. You're attacking that elastic and allowing it to go back the way it was because it was stretched out. And so it's even more scrunched up now that we've applied that steam. And on the back, the elastic should be fairly straight. So that's also how you will know if you've done it correctly. Might not be perfect straight, but pretty straight is exactly what we want. And I think it looks really good. And I'm excited that you finally are learning how to shirr. And look at that stretch. Like, that is a lot of stretch for a woven fabric. I just love playing with this. So now that we've learned how to shirr, I hope that you give it a try. And if you do, please share with me over on social media, and all the links will be in the description box below. And any of the tools and things that I use in today's video also will be linked down below. And I just want to leave you with, experimenting is the best way to achieve perfect results. Every sewing machine is different. All the settings are going to be different. My sewing machine settings might not work the same way with your sewing machine settings. So just tinker around. The basic premise is there. Increase your top tension and increase your stitch length and put that elastic bobbin in. But of course, once you have figured that out, I want you to write it down so that you have it close by so you can always refer to it, because believe me, if you don't do shearing every day, you're gonna forget. And I hope you stick around, because in the next video, I will have a really fun project. We're going to actually take this technique of shirring and actually apply it to making something super fun and easy. And I also have a few other projects in mind. So we're going to be doing a ton of shirring on this channel. I hope that you hang out with me. Again, this is going to be super easy garments. All you need to do is master that shirring technique, and we're going to do it together. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next tutorial. Bye guys.